Okay, welcome everybody. Sorry for the delay. Somewhere there was a bad link set up. So I'm going to kind of stumble around here before we bring Tom on, just to let people still trying to get in. Yeah, we've just gotten discombobulated here. Ken, we're here. So it was we were aware of the problem, and we couldn't get a hold of Novia either. All right, let's see. Now we got people dropping off. We want people adding in. We're just going to give it another minute here. All right, I don't know what the problem was. We still got people coming in. So we will get started here in Ken, Omnovia. There's nobody at Omnovia. And right now we've got everybody working on the problem, so we probably didn't pick up the phone to call you back. Sorry about that. All right. Well, I'm going to just do the quick intro, probably because everybody already knows the background of Tom Busby. He's been around for quite a few years, has a very good reputation. So, Tom, I guess we've still got people coming in. Why don't you go ahead and come on, and we'll get started and let people come in as they may. So, everybody, welcome Tom Busby to the Candlestick Forum.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3 4. Can everybody hear me? Hey, folks, and thanks, Steve. Omnovia sometimes wants to act up, and it gets a little difficult there. But I was just sitting here, and I was talking to Morgan. He just got back from Chicago, and he was telling about all the people he met. Steve, will you be recording this? Or you want me to record it from my end?
I'm trying to see if Jim had gotten on here. Usually he's up in the top. If you've got the capabilities of recording it, I guess you better do that. I'll see if I can still get a hold of Jim. I don't see him on here.
All right, I'll record.
He may have been he may have been having the same problem everybody else was trying to get on.
Okay. I'll call it Roadmap Heaven. All right, we're ready to go. Folks, thanks for having a little patience with us. Sometimes technology overwhelms guys like Steve and myself who've been around a long time. And this webinar circuit and everything is pretty interesting when you think about it. I mean, that we're able to broadcast out to people all around the country and the world. I want to thank Steve and his group for inviting me in here tonight. To get started, I'd like to ask a question or two. Where is everybody from? Give me some idea what city or country that you're from here tonight. I know that Virginia, that's always a good one to start with. Oklahoma. And one of the things that, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I trade futures, I trade stocks, and I trade options. And so I trade pretty much anything that moves. Been doing it a long time. What do you trade? Tell me what you trade. In other words, do you trade all three, or do you trade just one subset? Option, stocks, okay. FX. Okay, pretty good spread. Well, I started this company in 1996. Originally it was known as the Day Trading Institute. We changed the name in, I think it was 2000, to Diversified Trading Institute. When I started the company in 1996, I had no idea that I'd still be doing this all these years later. I know that, my motivation for starting it goes back to 1987, when, I had a pretty bad day in the markets and really changed my life. And I figured there had to be a better way to do what I was trying to do. And, I know over the years I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning. And, one of the things I think that makes us a little bit different is that when we trade, or educate or do what we do through our core education, one of the things that we do is we do live trading to teach it. And, I know that, a lot of people out there, have charting packages and all that and everything. But if you think about the markets and you think about, it's really like a tape that you need to learn to read. And, is the tape strong or is the tape weak? And I think that, what we do with our software is we make that tape come alive when you're looking at it, and it makes it sort of easy to tell where you want to be long, short, or out. So, let me get started. Diversified Trading Institute. We're proud to be here with Steve tonight, and I really do appreciate the invitation. Always risk. If anybody ever tells you there's no risk in this game, run. There's a lot of risk in this game, and you have to educate yourself and constantly educate yourself. I always tell people when they're having a bad day, go back and get some more knowledge. Here's a few books that I have out there. Winning the Day Trading Game was the first book. It was published by Wiley. My second book was The Markets Never Sleep, and my third book was written about attitude. Because I knew that you had to have a real positive attitude if you wanted to win in trading, and so I called it Trade to Win. But all three books are story type books. I like telling stories about trading because I think stories make points. I started trading the S&P, member of CME, 1982, the big S&P back then, and I've been trading it ever since. I know that one of the distinctive things about my career, I had what was known as the Globex terminal. There were 50 of them in America, and the Chicago Mercantile selected me to get one of them. I know that was quite an advantage. As one of the test group that had one of those Globex terminals, I learned so much about the global markets. And to this day, I still use a lot of the things I learned from those years. And it sort of makes it nice to have that background. Started the company in 1996, and we have classes, and we're located in Mobile, Alabama. There's a picture of our building. I built it in 2001. It's about 10,000 square feet, and it's got a lot of trading going on inside those walls. And I don't know if you've ever been to Mobile. It's a nice little community on the southern part of Alabama. Now, one of the parts that interests me is that I have to have the big picture. I have to, when I'm trading, I've got to be trading from the big picture. And so I'm always thinking about the year first. And back in December, I started mapping out my forecast for the year and what I was thinking about doing. And I started looking at history and looking at seasonals and looking at things that maybe would give me a little background to how this year would turn out. And I remember writing an email. And the email, I had a couple points in it. I talked about the presidential re-election. I talked about the general pattern that happens when the incumbent is re-elected. And you got to think back, the second 4 years of an incumbent is a little bit different than a new president. And I looked at the pattern. And the pattern was a strong January, a medium to strong February, and then March was a strong early, and then weak late in March. And sure enough, you look at this year and you sit here and think about the market this year. It's been really strong since January, sort of strong there in February, and then of course the first 15 days of March have been a barn burner. So whether or not it turns down next week or week after next, I want you to think about what you would do if it did. And I wrote this back in December. My point number 2, and I used E-mini, like I said, I've been trading it a lot of years. Point number 2, I expected to see the E-mini make it to 1545 by March. Now at the time, I had no idea that would occur. I had no idea how it would occur. All I could tell you is today in March we're at 1555. So we have exceeded what I expected, and so we're at that zone that something's about to happen. And I could give you a lot of reasons what that might be, but I'll tell you this: for the first time in a long while, I don't have any stocks in my portfolio. I'm totally out of stocks. I might day trade stocks, but I don't have stocks in my portfolio at this time. And it's because even if I miss what's left of the rally, I know, or at least this pattern that I've been talking about, should bottom out in June, give me a chance to re-enter. And I expect the lows to be in June of this year. And so when you look into the next 3 months, you should see a pretty good decline, April and May, ending in June. So the 90 days forecast is pretty simple. Weak, and weaker. And that's what I think will happen if it follows the pattern of the presidential cycle. And, you'll be able to tell. And like I said, you should be able to tell as early as the middle of next week, because we're in the second half of March. These are the kind of things that I like to look at when I'm doing my planning. I'll tell you this: if we get into April and this thing's still making highs, I'll get long. But the point is, this is what I expect. Now I use tools, and I'm going to take you over to our desktop sharing. And I created this tool many years ago because I didn't like what Wall Street had, and I didn't like what I needed to be successful. So I built my own, and we call it the Roadmap software. It's been in production since the year 2000, and this is what it looks like. Let me take you around the block in it, just show you what's neat about it. Now, can y'all see that? Can you see the desktop? Well, if you look at the desktop, I've got a quote page. And on the quote page, I have my quote set up opening first, E-mini, last trade. And, again, you can put stocks in here. For example, if you trade Apple, you put Apple in there, and, you can see Apple closed a little bit weak today. You can track anything that trades. And then if you got something you're really interested in, for example, you can put it on my ETR line. The ETR line works 24 hours around the clock, where I don't have to sit in front of the screen to know where my key numbers are. And give me a stock that y'all might follow. Give me a stock. Somebody name a stock, and I'll show you how this works. Okay, Slumberjay. I trade Slumberjay. So Slumberjay, I put it in the ETR line, and it will follow Slumberjay anytime it trades, and it gives you that pattern of numbers that you're going to need. Now, the charts are special. Let's talk about the charts. This is crude oil. Has anybody ever traded crude oil? Okay. Let me just take you around the block here. Here's our buy area up here at the top side of it. I'll get a little cursor here to show you what I'm talking about. Up here at the top's the buy area. Right here is sort of the buy area, and here's the sell area. And I call this area from here to here noise. Now, in general, you want to see it move into the buy area or move into the sell area if you're following that particular market. Now, that's pretty good for the trending, the trending markets and markets that are trend, but a lot of times you might want to trade without waiting for it to get to the buy area or the sell area. And this is where I bring the midpoint in. If you look at the midpoint, it's that magenta line right there. And if I was analyzing crude oil right now, first thing I would do is look at the opening price, 93.15, and the current price is 93.27. I would rate that as positive. Then I would come over to my midpoint here, and I'm above the midpoint. If I got above that high right there, which would be about 97.36, I'd probably go long crude if I was going to trade it tonight. This midpoint, if I'm going from south to north, like this, south to north, that's bullish. Or if I'm going from north to south through that midpoint line, I'd rate that as bearish, but I got it. The opening price is key to me on my trades. And I'm showing crude oil right there. I'll come back to it in a little bit and show you some trades that I've been making using this strategy. Okay? It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I didn't show you the research key. Let me go back and do that real quick. The research key. Up here under table. Well, click something. There it is. I got Windows 8, and I'd highly recommend you never get Windows 8. This is a terrible program, this Windows 8. I told somebody last night, one day you'll read a story how Bill Gates lost his fortune. It was Windows 8. Anyway, if you look at the research key, and you do that right up here, let's say I wanted to know about Slumberjay, and all of a sudden I could go back all the years my data will give me and look at Slumberjay and how it traded. I can look at the week, I can look at the month, always calculating the midpoint depending on where I'm at, the year, and everything that comes in there. So it can happen. Pretty neat the way you can do all that stuff. But anyway, back to the day. But anyway, that's the research key. I wanted to show you that. Let's go back to our slideshow. Alright, one of the markets I featured this week for my students was crude. I had a setup, and I called it my trade of the week, and crude had to break 91 for me to for me to go short, and this was on Monday, and crude never did that, and I never went short, but I would still go short. Crude's at 93 if it ever broke 91, and I could explain that in detail, but 91 would be the start of another break on crude, and if it got below 91, then I'd get serious about getting really short. Here's some stocks I traded this week. These were day trade stocks, except SDS. I put on a small position of SDS. That's the ETF that is inverse to the S&P 500. I'm behind on that trade about 30 or 40 cents, but I'm trying to build a position here to go in line with what I think is going to happen, and so I've got my toe in the water there. And then Amazon. Let me tell you about Amazon. I traded Amazon yesterday, and I got a trade I'll show you at the end of this, but let me go over to Amazon. Amazon, if you look here, let me close that line up. Does everybody see that blue bar right there? My cursor's on it right here, this blue bar. Everybody see that blue bar? Alright, this is 8:30 in the morning, and this is when Amazon opened, and I bought Amazon, and I call this an irrational exuberance time period, 8:30 to 9:30, and I bought some options on Amazon, and they went from like 3 to 4, and so this is a trade that you can do, at 8:30 in the morning if you catch that kind of setup where the low and the opening are at the same price. That's what I look for. And tomorrow I plan on doing another one of those trades. And then of course IBM, I did it today on an irrational exuberant trade. We were having a lot of fun in our trade room, and today, let me show you IBM, show you what it looks like. So if you look at this right here, you see IBM? Everybody see IBM? That's IBM right there. That was this morning. I got IBM. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to put it back on desktop, don't I? See IBM right here? See that blue bar there on IBM? Everybody see that? And then see how it went up. And I made that trade today along with my students in our trade room. And actually it came from one of my students. We were looking for stocks moving. But see the opening price was the low? Does everybody see that blue bar at 8:30 this morning on the opening? Okay? And then you see it surging right there to higher places. Okay? I like to do that trade. I call it an irrational exuberant type trade. All right, let's go hunting. Let's go hunting, and when we go hunting, give me some stocks or give me something to look at, and I'll analyze it for you using the software. It's pretty cool the way that can happen. Give me a symbol or two, and I'll dial it in there. AVB. Okay, I've never traded AVB. AVB. Okay. Okay, AVB. Yeah, that's a good stock. If you look at it, the monthly opens about 125. It's 129. We'd be long this stock. Are you long this stock? Yeah, you're in good shape. What I'd be looking for, don't let it go below this price right here, which is about 128. I'd call it about 128.49 tomorrow. Now, the compass is what I'm looking at here on the chart, and what it does, it gives me a whole bunch of metrics. It'll give me the 5-day high. It gives me the month open. Anytime I look at a stock, I always look at the monthly open. I want it to be above the monthly open to be long, okay? And then, of course, the buy and sell areas are mathematically calculated for you. And then the ATR, are you familiar with the concept ATR, average true range? And so it gives you some idea of the personality of the stock I'm looking at. And so in this case, I don't really care the fact that it came from way down here at the lower end, but when I look at the stock and I see it moving, and by the way, these are 30-minute charts, okay? And now these blue bars give me the different time segments that I break the day into. And so therefore, when I look at this, I am, I'm convinced with this stock as a bullish stock. If you got calls, how long have you owned those calls? Three days? Alright, let me stop for a second because I think I probably confused people. And I didn't mean to. I was trying to, get to the presentation portion, and I sort of got hung up on the software. They're showing some stuff. What are you confused about? Alright, the big picture is we're trying to find opportunities, okay? We're trying to find opportunities to make money with, right? Isn't that what we're trying to do? So let me summarize what I've told you already. I believe the opportunities in the market are that if the market turns south, that means goes negative, okay, then you can make your money to the short side. Okay? Now, you will know that if the S&P goes down, correct? And that's how you're going to make money in that situation. Now, is that confusing? Okay. The chart will help you identify the structure of it. And the structure of it has to be whether you buy it, whether you sell it, or whether you stay out. And so there's really three chart patterns you got to know. This is all you need to know. I've been doing this for 30-something years. So if I'm looking to go long, I want to look at a chart pattern like that. That's long. If I'm looking to go short, I'm looking at a chart pattern. And if I'm going to stay out, I got a chart pattern like this. So let me ask you. I'll give you a couple rules here, then you tell me, okay? Let me put the midpoint here. Okay. Let's take this stock, AVB. AVB, I'll put it over in a quote page. And we'll just take your stock and analyze. You can do this for anything, AVB. Okay. First question I'd ask myself, okay? The first question I would ask myself is AVB higher than today's opening price? That's the first question I'd ask myself. And you'd get yes, correct? So if it's higher than the opening price, then I go to the midpoint, which is the high and low of the last 24 hours. And is the stock price higher than the midpoint? Rule number 2, is it higher than the midpoint? And rule number 3, you get long. Now where would you be wrong? You would be wrong if the stock came back below the bar that went through the midpoint. Now, are you still confused? See, here's what I find. To stop. Alright, here's the bar that went through the midpoint. That bar right there. Let me get the cursor and show it to you, because it is hard to see. This is the bar that went through the midpoint. See that bar right there? Okay? So if it goes back below that bar, but it gives you some definite rules. It's not guesswork. Give me something else and I'll analyze it for you. I'll tell you exactly what you should do with it. Does anybody trade futures here? Is this active right now? Okay, beans. Ziggy, let's look at beans, soybeans. Soybeans trades 24 hours, right? So let's just do soybeans. ZS, K3 is the symbol. Okay? Now, throw our midpoint up there. Alright, now, let's look at soybeans. Over here on our quote page, ZSK3. Let me take you through this. Okay? Soybeans opened at 39. 1439, right? Okay. The midpoint is 1440. The penetration bar is right there at 1440. So when beans break that low of that bar right there, that's about 1336 and a half. That's where you go short. Okay. That help you with beans? And that's in tonight's market. Yeah, Kenneth, if you're intraday trading, it's the high and low of the day, the 24-hour market. If you're trading over the week, it's the 5-day high. Okay? And if you're trading the month, it's the 30-day high. And so what you want to do is line those midpoints up, and then you take a look at it. All right, that was soybeans, but you can analyze any market. The market's open right now, and I can tell you right now, the trade that's setting up is the crude trade. The crude trade. If I put crude in here right now, CLJ3, this is the trade setting up tonight. Let me show it to you. It's about to break the midpoint. If it goes to 93.14, which is right here, I will be going short probably during this presentation. Right there. And the midpoint line is that pink line. And that's crude. I think people that have been in the market a long time, okay, sometimes confuse it with too many lines, crossing and everything. And I think if you keep it simple, you'll do a lot better. All right, any more questions? Any more things you want me to talk about here? Yeah, I can just show the chart, sure. Got a game we play at DTI called Beat the Box. Okay, let me give you the calculations, if that's what you want. The calculations are, number one, I take the high and low of the month. That's found, okay, in the research key, the high and low of the month. I take that number, compare it to the high and low of the last 5 days. So the high and low of the last 5 days is found right here, where it's got 5-day high, 5-day low on the metrics chart, okay? Which is that gray area you're looking at. You probably can't see the numbers. And then I look at the high and low of the intraday. Now, if it's below that midpoint and below the opening, I'm going to be probably probing that market to the short side. And that is sort of, in my estimation, is getting on the right side of the market. Okay. Or vice versa. See, most people always want to focus on the close of the market. I learned years ago that if you can tell who's winning and who's losing, you want to play with the winners. And I always felt like that I was missing it. Wall Street wanted me to look at the close. I started being successful when I started using the opening. Okay? All right, sure. Nick, what stock you want me to throw up here? Okay, CRUS. Okay. The stock opened at 23 and a quarter. So right now at 23.62, it's slightly above the opening. You're right in what I call the noise area, okay? Because it's in the noise area, I want to look at the midpoint, and the midpoint, it's below the midpoint. That's a little bearish. I would not buy this stock. I would not buy this stock. There's a lot better stocks to buy. You want me to look at Amazon? Sure. I trade this stock. Okay, Amazon. Let's throw the midpoint in there. Did you see Amazon turn south today? Okay, Amazon closed today bearish. Okay? Tomorrow they got options closing out, correct? Okay, but if you look at the monthly open on Amazon, it's 263, and the current price is 266. Write this down. If Amazon breaks 262 tomorrow, you're going to see it go a lot lower. Okay? The yellow bands, or the one above is the buy, the one below is the yellow. Okay? So if we break 262 tomorrow, you're going lower on Amazon. Didn't I see somebody in here trading Netflix? Didn't somebody say they had Netflix? Look at it. Okay, Netflix. This stock is right on the monthly open. I haven't checked open interest, but I would guess it's probably crowded around 190 for options tomorrow. Watch this stock tomorrow. If the S&P turns down, okay? If the S&P turns down and this stock does not get higher than 192, see that blue bar right there, 192? Then this stock could have a pretty good correction tomorrow. That's Netflix. Now, a lot of people can show you this stuff. Has anybody here ever seen me trade? Has anybody ever watched me trade live? Huh? Okay. So would you think it would be fair if I made a challenge here, okay? And the challenge is, you ought to watch me trade live. Let me show you this. I've got a futures book that sort of describes the global markets. Let me get through the rest of this presentation. If you want me to, I'll look at some more stocks. Anyway, inside what I put together is to give you an overview, because it's really hard for you, it's unfair for you to try to understand something that works without digging in there and learning enough of it, and it's hard in a 30-minute presentation. But I put a guidebook together that sort of gives you the key elements of everything I showed you. Got a lot of experience. I've got a lot of people I've trained how to use this, and it's pretty fascinating because they trade futures, options, and stocks. They trade in the global market. We operate in a 24-hour market. Bill, I'll go back to Amazon if you'll let me finish the slides. Can I finish my slides? If you don't mind. Anyway, I put the information together, and I think the information is good information because I think that a lot of people don't see the big picture, and I don't see how anybody can ever make any money in the market. And the reason I gave you my forecast because I wanted you to know where all my thinking is deriving as you go forward. Now let me ask you a question. Let's say 2 months down the road, 60 days down the road, you're reading in the paper and the market's 10% lower. Will you remember this presentation tomorrow? Or then? If we're 10% lower 60 days down the road, will you remember that? Would you have remembered in 2000 if you were one of my people, if I got you out of the market before that tech bubble? Would you have remembered in 07 if I'd have got you long on the day, March 9th? Would you remember that? I've been doing this a long time, folks, and I don't think Steve would have invited me here if he didn't know that I might add something to make you a better trader. And so for somebody, for somebody that's out there, you got to continue to learn. I would tell you, and you check this out, it is what it is. But anyway, I think emotions are very tough in trading, and let me give you some insights that go forward, okay? And you ought to write these down, okay? You ought to write these insights down. You got your pencil out? Number 1, July the 4th will be a turn in the market. If we're going down into June, I would look for a turn in the market back up on July the 4th, okay? I will tell you, this August will be an August to remember in the grains, if you trade the grain market. So write down, learn about grains for August. I will tell you, the day after Thanksgiving is the most bullish day for the last 50 years. I will tell you, get up early. We do a webinar on that day. Be there and watch it. The day after Thanksgiving. Check that one out. I will tell you, the last week after Christmas is the best trading week of the year. Only for the last 35 years. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. I will tell you, if a stock goes to 100, you'll see 110. I will tell you, if you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and Europe is up 1% or greater, the S&P will open up 0.75%. Anyway, I got going just to have a little fun, but there's 30 of these in this package, okay? Has anybody ever told you that stuff? Alright. When you lose, and you will, people lose money, you gotta have something to bring you back to center line. I put together what I call a penalty tape. This is a tape you should listen to if you have a losing day. And people have losing days all the time. And I find if you have a way to get back to getting to a mental stability, you got a better chance of being profitable the next day. So I think the penalty tapes, in fact, it's been around about 11 years, and it's a pretty good tape. I will tell you that my book, Winning the Day Trading Game, is about the stories and the lessons I learned over a 30-year career. People tell me it's the best trading book they ever read. I don't know. It's pretty good because my cousin wrote it, so I can say that. But it's a pretty good book. I don't know if anybody here has ever read it, but I will give you a copy in this package. And then I will give you 5 days in the DTI 24-hour trade room that you will be able to, okay, watch us do this. Now, hey Petra, she's a student of ours. Ask her. I hadn't seen you in a long time, Petra. Okay? The website is www.dtitrader.com. Let me go back to the market because I think we had some questions about Amazon. Here, let me put Amazon in. What in Amazon we had questions about? Okay. The question was, or was it Netflix we had questions about? It was Netflix we had questions about, right? You wanted to know how I derived the 92. If you look right here, see that purple bar? Let me get my little cursor because it's really hard for you to see it. But see this purple bar right here? That one right there? Okay, that's at 90. You come up here, this one's at 92. I said I would be bearish as long as this stock's below 92. Okay? 192. And I got it from that purple bar. And I didn't cover this, but reference bars divide the world. There's the Asian reference bar. It's the first 30 minutes of Asia. Starts at 5 o'clock. The second 30 minutes, or the second part of the world, is Europe. That starts at 3:30 in the morning. The third is 3:30 at 8:30. Or, 8:30 in the morning when the market opens. That is the day reference bar. And then the 12:30 reference bar in the afternoon. Okay? Now, everybody see that? That's how I got to 92. Did you have another stock you wanted me to look at? Ed, you want me to look at WMB? Okay, sure. Okay. WMB. See that green arrow on WMB right there? Everybody see that green arrow? I like this stock. I think it's going higher. As long as it stays below 34.69, you gotta like this stock. And that's that purple bar right there. It's sort of fun, isn't it, when you relax a little bit and you start looking at this stuff. Let me ask you a question. Who would like to make some money between 8:30 and 9 tomorrow? I mean, actually make money. Who would like to do that? 8:30 to 9. Central Time. Okay. Keep that thought in mind. Alright. If you buy that special and get the trader's kit, it'll be $99, okay? post a link on that if you will. Okay. If you buy this special, okay, remember it includes 5 days in the trade room, so we'll be trading those 5 days. But if you get this special, it'll give you the background. You can download it in the morning, and then you study it over the weekend, and we won't start your 5-day trial in the trade room till next week. But after you go through that material this weekend, you'll be ready. But I'll let you in there tomorrow because I am going to trade from 8:30 to 9, my rational exuberance trade, and that'll be from 8:30 to 9, and you'll be either stock or options from 8:30 to 9. It's a pretty good little trade. Okay? Now, the link's in the chat, or you can call that number there, 745-744. I hope I ended up not boring you. I get up pretty early in the morning, and I guess I got fired up a little bit, so that's good. Always get me fired up. Let's talk about a new trade, and I'll demonstrate it more at 8:30. Let me show you the trade I'm going to do, okay? Let's go over to, I'll just pick this stock, SHLD. Okay. What I will do in the morning, I will list about 10 stocks across the top at about 8:15. These stocks will be stocks that have moved over the global market. And I will take those 10 stocks and I will plug them into my software, and between 8:30 and 9, I will show you how irrational exuberance works, okay? From 8:30 to 9. And I will buy, okay, either the stock or options related to that stock between 8:30 and 9. Give you some idea, I paid 3, they turned to 5 today on options. I paid 3 yesterday, they turned to 7, to give you some idea. So this is a pretty lucrative trade that I'm going to do in the morning at 8:30 to 9. And so let me go back to the presentation. I hope I hadn't taken too long. You can call that number if you got any questions, comments. Adam, are you here? Isn't there something if they fill out a survey, we'll give them a pass for tomorrow? Alright. You click the first link to purchase the $99 package. You click the second link. This won't cost you a thing. If you pick the second link, that's going to give you a pass into my trade room in the morning between 8:30 and 9. The first one is the package. Does everybody see that link there? The first one's the package, and the second one is you fill out that survey, and you can watch my irrational exuberant trade in the morning. Okay? Oh, Bill, I'll repeat it. You can ask me. What I said was, if you wake up in the morning and Europe is up 1%, then you can expect these stocks to be up 0.75% from when I did it. Okay? Adam, that's a tech question. How do you say that? Sujaka? How do you like those insights? You know, I've got 100 of those insights, but I've got in this package, I got 30 of them. But it's stuff I've learned over the years. For example, has anybody ever seen a market go up 2.5% during the day? Anybody ever seen that? You know, there's a trade I call the face peel trade, the last 30 minutes when you see that happen. But anyway, we lay out those insights, and everybody seems to enjoy them because they happen over my career I'm sure Steve's got a bunch of insights too, but the bottom line is that it's just ways to make money that, you go, aha, I remember that particular moment. But tell you a real quick story before I go. The 100 to 110 on the stock. Years ago, I worked at Merrill Lynch, and I was short their stock. And I remember it being 99. And they were all over me for shorting the company stock. And I was loaded. I mean, I had every cent I had in that stock short. And the manager came to me and said, Tom, why are you short our stock? I said, I'm short your stock because this company sucks. Support's terrible. We don't call back people. Anyway, he laughed or whatever. But then he told me, he said, you can't short the stock. Well, the next day, the stock went from 100 to 110. I lost every cent in my account. So I studied this. And I went through and I started doing a back testing on 100 to 110. I found out that if a stock goes to 100, it goes to 110. And so I started using it the opposite way. And the opposite way, if you ever see a stock for the first time break 100, it's usually good for 110. About 2 years ago, you familiar with WYNN? W-Y-N-N? We're down in Orlando, and we bought WYNN at 100, and by the end of that conference is at 110. And people said, how'd you know that? And I said, I know it because I lost a fortune learning it. Folks, thanks for being kind and being here and giving me a chance. I hope I didn't bore you. I want to thank Steve for inviting me. I enjoyed doing this tonight. But I'll see everybody in the morning that's interested, and we'll just try to make a little money. And then all the know-it-alls, we'll keep the money, and we'll let them keep knowing it all. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you very much, Tom. That was great stuff. And as I remind people in here, not everybody's going to have the perfect trading program for you. So you pick out the best of what you like of everybody and formulate your own so it's your trading program. And Tom's got good information. When you've been trading that long, you recognize things that work and things that don't work. And so that's why you want to definitely use his knowledge to help your trading. So with that, we'll see everybody tomorrow in the chat room.